I never expected that a simple hike could turn into one of the most intense experiences of my life. But what happened that afternoon in the mountains is something I will never forget. It started when I was walking along a narrow trail with my friend Ava. We were taking it slow, enjoying the quiet of the forest, when I noticed movement near the ruins of an old stone wall. At first, I thought it was a stray dog, but as I stepped closer, my breath caught in my throat. A lynx was standing on its hind legs, pressing against the wall, its claws scratching desperately at the stone. The animal wasn't running away. Instead, it looked straight at me, as if it was pleading for help. I froze. Every instinct told me to stay back. This was a wild predator. But there was something strange about the way it behaved. It wasn't aggressive, it wasn't hiding. It was desperate. Ava whispered, "Lauren, what do we do?" I pulled out my phone with shaking hands and called the ranger station. I explained what I was seeing, my voice trembling. The officer on the other end told me firmly, "Keep your distance. Do not touch it. We're sending someone right away." Those minutes felt like hours. The lynx kept trying to climb out, slipping on the stones, its paws bleeding from the effort. I couldn't take my eyes off it. When the sound of a pickup truck finally echoed through the trees, I felt a wave of relief. A man in uniform stepped out. It was Mark, one of the rangers. He gave me a quick nod, calm but focused. Mark spoke quietly. "You did the right thing by calling. We'll handle this." He studied the wall, the drop below, and the lynx, which turned toward him but didn't retreat. He motioned for us to stay behind the line of stones while he retrieved a rope and a short wooden board from his truck. Together, we secured the board against the rocks, creating a sort of ramp. The lynx hesitated, ears twitching, then slowly placed its paws on the board. My heart was pounding as it pulled itself up, scrambling with its claws until it finally reached the top. For a moment, silence hung in the air. I expected it to bolt into the forest. But instead, the lynx turned back toward the wall and let out a low, guttural cry. Then I heard it, tiny, muffled squeaks coming from a crack in the stones. Ava looked at me wide-eyed. "There are babies," she whispered. I felt my knees go weak. That's why she wasn't leaving. That's why she had been so desperate. Mark crouched down, shining a flashlight into the narrow opening. I could barely see movement inside, but the sound of the squeaks was unmistakable. He exhaled slowly. "There are at least 2 kittens in there," he said. "They're wedged tight." Mark explained the plan quickly. He would carefully remove some of the loose stones at the top, just enough to create space without causing a collapse. He asked us to keep watch and make sure no one else came too close. Ava and I nodded, our hands shaking as we tried to steady our nerves. Minutes dragged on as Mark worked. Every time a stone shifted, dust fell into the crack, and the kittens squealed louder. The mother lynx paced nearby, her body tense, eyes locked on us. I whispered to Ava, praying silently that she wouldn't leap forward. Then finally, Mark reached into the opening with a thick glove and gently pulled out a tiny, squirming bundle of fur. He placed it on a soft cloth a few feet away, backing off immediately. The lynx rushed forward, sniffed the kitten, then let out a short, sharp call toward the crack. Mark reached in again, and this time pulled out another kitten, trembling and weak but alive. We stepped back, giving her space. What happened next is burned into my memory. The lynx picked up one kitten by the scruff, then turned to look at us for a brief moment. Not with fear, not with anger, but with something I can only describe as acknowledgement. Then she disappeared into the trees. Moments later, she came back for the second one, repeating the same ritual, before vanishing into the forest for good. Mark exhaled heavily, brushing the dust off his gloves. "That's it," he said quietly. "She's got them." We stood there in silence, the forest suddenly feeling sacred. My hands were trembling, but my heart was full. The next day, Mark showed us footage from a camera trap they had set up nearby. The video showed the lynx returning to check the area before carrying her kittens further into the mountains. They were safe. That image, the sight of a wild mother protecting her young, stayed with me long after. When I think back on it now, I realize how close we were to making the wrong move. If we had tried to interfere on our own, we could have been hurt, or worse, we could have scared her away from her babies. But by staying calm, calling for help, and respecting the boundaries between people and wildlife, we were able to give her a chance. That day taught me something I'll never forget. True kindness sometimes means stepping back, trusting the right people, and letting nature take its course. And sometimes, it means answering a silent plea from a wild animal with the courage to do nothing more than what's truly needed.